traveling to save the planet, a contradiction in terms or a path to nature conservation and international development? The tourism sector has been growing for the last 7 years. 2016 saw 1.2 billion tourists around the world, with Europe as their primary destination, followed by the Asia-Pacific region. Business is booming. The sector is expected to grow by 2 to 3% a year until 2050, and it directly or indirectly creates 1 out of 11 jobs worldwide. Only a fraction of the industry counts as ecotourism, but that sector is growing by leaps and bounds. So what exactly is ecotourism? Responsible travel to natural areas that conserves the environment, sustains the well-being of the local people, and involves interpretation and education of both staff and guests. People have been traveling the world for pleasure and in organized packs only for the last 200 years or so. Ecotourism grew out of the global environmental movement in the late 1970s in response to conventional tourism's adverse effects on people and the planet. Today, 5% of global greenhouse gas emissions come from the sector, mostly from air and road travel, but also due to on-site amenities like air conditioning and toiletries. If you're visiting Thailand's Phuket Island, for example, you'll create 1,000 kilos of CO2 just getting there and back. Still, experts say the benefits of ecotourism outweigh the negative effects of travel. And in a sign of the times, the UN has named 2017 the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. There's no magic formula to running a successful ecotourism initiative. Ralph Buckley, who teaches about and researches tourism's impacts at Griffith University in Australia, will be guiding us through 3 examples. Cases of successful tourism initiatives exist that have had real positive impact on the local environment and its inhabitants. Botswana is one such success story with its national parks and safaris, though yes, some populations have been displaced. Botswana became the only country on the African continent to ban trophy hunting back in 2014, and since then it's been a safe haven for wild animals, including elephants. A third of the continent's elephants now call Botswana home. As Ralph tells us, ecotourism initiatives are largely successful thanks to Botswana's laws and regulations.
Botswana has particular advantages. It has a 3-pillar economy, so including cattle and diamonds as well as tourism. It's not reliant only on tourism. It has a president who's enthusiastic about wildlife tourism, ecotourism, who recognizes that conservation of wildlife is critical to support the wildlife tourism industry. It's relatively low in corruption. It's a safe place from a tourist perspective. It's a healthy place. More than 80% of the total annual funding for the Parks Agency, the government park service, is derived from tourism.
Ecotourism initiatives can also be helpful to actors in other fields, like scientists and researchers. The starkest example may just be Arctic and Antarctic polar tourism. In one of the most delicate and uninhabited ecosystems on Earth, tourists want to see the polar ice caps while they still can, before they melt into the ocean due to global warming. Visitors' very presence can speed up environmental damage, but paradoxically, they can also help researchers study these regions.
There are cases where individual ecotourism operators, mainly in what they call the expedition cruise sector, which is small cruise boats, less than 100 passengers, high science component, high environment component. Some of these companies support research projects, university research projects, by taking researchers or postgraduate students to islands that are difficult to get to.
Countries that were closed off for decades represent a new frontier for tourism insiders. Our third example is Iran, that began opening its doors to visitors after signing a nuclear deal in July 2015. The longer it's open to visitors, though, the more international brands and chains will make their appearance, with practices that aren't necessarily eco-friendly, like providing air conditioning and serving imported food and drinks. That's why Iran wants to develop ecotourism.
We're seeing a very rapid growth in inbound international tourism to Iran. It's focusing on culture and archaeology, but also on nature and adventure. The government of Iran recognizes that, and they are promoting it. Normal commercial interest rates in Iran are very high, so around 26%, whereas the government is making these low-interest ecotourism loans available at 4%, so that's a huge difference.
Ecotourism is popular for many reasons: the desire to limit global warming, preserving pristine natural charm, allowing tourists to wander off the beaten path. It allows for positive contact with residents, and it boosts the local economy. But it's also expensive. Take this eco-lodge in Namibia. To get there, travelers need to fly to the capital, then drive 500 kilometers. Here, the water is treated on site, food is grown locally, and electricity comes from solar panels. But the cheapest room costs upwards of 400 euros a night. Still not sure if ecotourism is the right fit? If you're thinking of taking a staycation instead, remember, the effects of visiting and protecting wildlife in a sustainable manner outweigh climate impacts of long-haul air travel.